guys, welcome back to today's video. I am so excited to introduce you to these cute, tiny little rabbits that I have been fostering and bottle feeding. They are just so cute and they've grown so much. So I've actually taken videos of them throughout the process of caring for them so that you guys can watch them as they grow. And I would also like to thank the sponsor for today's video, PetAmi, which actually provided the carrier that I am using to keep the baby rabbits in. They are so tiny that it's just so easy for them to get through very small holes. So this is just perfect to keep them in, and I really appreciate PetAmi's support for helping me foster and rescue these guys. So please show them some love and check out their products. All the links will be down below in the description. Someone passed along to me these baby rabbits when they were about 6 to 7 days old, and I don't have a whole lot of information about them since I never met the original owner. But from what I've gathered from being told is that the litter was unexpected, and then the mom died a few days after giving birth to them. So the owner didn't know what to do with them at all, and then, asking around, they found somebody that suggested giving them to me, and that's basically what happened. So there's 3 of them, and they're doing really well. They're really healthy. There was, I think, more in the litter, but like I said, I don't really know too much about it. I think between the mom dying and then passing them on to me, there was a few that passed away. So basically, I just know that the mom was a dwarf rabbit, but I don't really know the cause of death or anything else like that. Now, it is really hard to raise baby rabbits compared to other commonly kept pets. They are very delicate during the first few days of their life. Now, the runt of the litter, this guy right here actually had diarrhea the first 24 hours that I had them. And it wasn't looking good. That's something that's, really hard for a rabbit to come out of, especially when they're this small and vulnerable. So it just wasn't looking good. I didn't have a lot of hope for him making it. But then after that, he just started picking up and being very active, and he started eating really well. At first, he didn't want to eat. He was refusing it, but, I guess I just kept forcing it, and he started doing a lot better. And as you can see now, he's very active, he's perfectly healthy, and so it's really exciting seeing how much he turned around. And he's the runt of the litter. It's the smallest one, which is, very common for animals that have multiple babies. It's just that there's one that's a little bit smaller, maybe not as healthy, and then gets pushed aside by the bigger siblings. Now, this little one here is like the middle child of the family, and she actually took a really long time to learn how to eat, and she refused to let me feed her for a long time. And of course, I just, had to force it. And she always ate a little bit less than everyone else. But her weight was fine, and she was very active, so I wasn't really too worried about her at all. And she is actually a very good eater now, but for several days, she just did not want to eat. And they're a little over 2 weeks now. I don't know if I mentioned that. This one, though, this one is the one that I called the little fatty because he actually never had any trouble eating. He always ate a lot. He never resisted when I was trying to feed him, and he's just super healthy. He's nice and big. His weight's always been great, and he was always super excited for mealtime. We'd get really excited when he was going to eat. Now, if you happen to be in this situation, I'll go over how you should bottle feed rabbits. You will find my first advice a little different than most forums and care guides. I do not recommend kitten milk or puppy milk as a milk replacement for rabbits. I find it funny that this needs to be said, but cats and rabbits really are nothing alike. I recommend a general farm animal milk replacement. The one that I'm using is made for cows, sheep, goats, horses, llamas, even elk and deer. The diet has much more in common with those types of grazing animals than with a cat. Now, the mixture will be a little bit different. Usually the bag comes with instructions, but rabbit probably won't be included. Basically, what you want to do is 3 parts water to 1 part powder for the first 10 days. After that, you use 2 parts water to 1 part powder. This type of milk replacement can be found at feed stores or online. Of course, natural goat's milk straight from the source would have been better, but unfortunately my goats were no longer nursing, or that's what I would have used. Now, the tricky thing when it comes to bottle feeding rabbits is that you need to make sure that the milk doesn't come out too fast. This is why you cannot use a bottle. So don't even try a kitten bottle. I know some information out there shows people using bottles, but you are running a very high risk that they will get milk in their nose and lungs if you use a bottle. So if you're going to do this, just do it safely and use a syringe or even a dropper. Now, don't expect this to be a fast process. It actually takes a really long time to bottle feed baby rabbits, and it's just because of how slow it needs to go. Because you don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to give them so much milk that the milk starts going into their nose and into their lungs, and you can cause issues with that very quickly if you're not careful. So, for example, feeding these 3 rabbits, it actually takes me 1 hour, and that's preparing the milk, bottle feeding each one, and so it takes a while. So if you have more rabbits than this, it is going to take a long time. So make sure that you do not try to rush it. That is so important. I'm using a syringe with a catheter to feed these rabbits, and it works great. This makes it really easy to feed them. As they grow, they do start chewing on it, so you either need to replace it or cut it down. The first few days that you have the rabbits, you need to teach them to nurse from a syringe. Some pick this up quicker than others, so it just takes time. You can feed them a few drops of milk several times a day. I think between all 3, they were getting about 2 ml of milk at each feeding. But do remember that these measurements are going to be for dwarf rabbits, and it's probably going to be a little bit more when it comes to regular size rabbits or even large breeds. Then once they get the hang of it and are eating good, they only need to be fed every 12 hours. Very different from many other animals you bottle feed like puppies or goats. Each day they would drink a little bit more. So for the first few days it was about 2 to 3 milliliters of milk for each. Now they're eating between about 4 to 5 milliliters at each feeding. They open their eyes at about 10 days and they start eating solid food at about 2 weeks. Do not offer baby rabbits watery vegetables. Food should be kind of dry and pretty bland. These guys are eating just grass with a little bit of dry alfalfa right now. This is easier for them to eat than pellets. Pellets can be introduced later once their teeth are a little bit stronger. And I suggest waiting until they are only eating solid food before offering veggies. And when you do feed veggies, it needs to be very small amounts because you can easily upset their stomachs. One mistake I often see people do with them that I want to bring up is that nursing rabbits should be kept in a small container. That is why you see me keeping them in a dog food dish. Putting them in a large box or somewhere where they can move a lot is not good because they can move away from each other, which will cause stress. Their mother would keep them very close together in a small nest, and this helps them feel safer. So until their eyes are open, they do want to be in a really small enclosed area. But remember, like I said, this doesn't mean that they can't move around at all. So some of them actually can jump out of the bowl, and what you need to do is put the bowl somewhere safe. So what I did is I just kept the bowl inside the PetAmi Carrier. Now, just because these rabbits are small does not mean that they cannot escape. They grow very quickly, and from one day to the next, their activity level just goes up like crazy. Which is why I've been using the PetAmi hand carrier, because it's just perfect for them. It's made out of a strong material, and they can't escape through it. So I couldn't have these little guys like in a crate or a pet cage because they would just go through small holes. They're very little. This carrier has worked out really well for them, and now that they are more active, it gives them enough room to have an area to run around in. The carrier is airline approved, and it is perfect for traveling with a small pet. So small dogs, cats, and other small animals definitely fit in here just fine. Gives them plenty of room. There's lots of ventilation. The whole top is mesh, as well as there's some sides that are mesh. Of course, you can cover it to keep it warmer, which sometimes I do that, but it is really good because it does allow a lot of airflow. PetAmi does make some really nice pet carriers, and not just this one, they actually have some super cute backpacks in different colors, so be sure to check that out. All the links for that will be down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about baby rabbits, and I hope it helps you in case you ever are in this situation. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!